Is Holdfast Nations at War still worth playing in 2025? You're about to get an honest breakdown, the good, the bad, and exactly what it feels like to play this chaotic historical multiplayer game today. Holdfast Nations at War is all about massive battles set in historical settings like the Napoleonic Wars and World War I. You jump into one of several factions and fight in first or third person using era-appropriate weapons, single-shot rifles, swords, cannons, and even full-blown naval ships. Matches can have over 150 players at once, and that's where this game really comes to life. When a full line of soldiers fires in unison, or when a ship explodes in a cannon battle at sea, it's hard not to feel like you're in the middle of a real historic war zone. But getting to that epic moment takes a bit of patience. One of the strongest points is the scale. You're not just in a small team deathmatch, you're in full-blown warfare, line battles, sieges, naval clashes, and trench assaults. If you stick with a regiment and follow commands, the coordination and immersion can be incredible. The Napoleonic era modes are clearly where the game shines. These battles tend to be the most active and well-populated, especially on weekends. You get full lines of infantry, artillery squads blasting away, and cavalry flanking from the sides. It all feels surprisingly tactical when players actually cooperate. Naval battles also offer a different layer of gameplay. Piloting a ship with others handling cannons and sails is chaotic but satisfying when done right. There's a learning curve, but the payoff is worth it, especially when your broadside sends an enemy ship to the bottom of the sea. Another highlight is the community-driven events. Public servers can be hit or miss, but when you join a proper regiment, the game changes entirely. With organized play, you get real coordination, role play, and much more structured fights. This makes the game feel alive and makes each match unique. There's also been consistent support from the developers. Over time, gameplay mechanics have been improved and performance has been optimized. Even new content like World War I Frontlines mode gives something different, with bolt-action rifles and more modern tactics compared to the Napoleonic style. And most importantly, the game is still active. You'll find servers, especially in European and North American time zones, and during event nights, the game feels packed and energetic. Even after several years, the game hasn't been abandoned. The developers are still actively supporting Holdfast with performance patches, quality of life improvements, and new content. In fact, one of the biggest updates is just around the corner. A console release and full crossplay support are launching. But it's not all smooth sailing or marching. The first big issue is the melee combat. It's clunky. Even after years of updates, melee still feels inconsistent and sometimes random. Duels can turn into awkward dances of missed swings, and hit detection isn't always reliable. Voice chat, while a fun feature, is a double-edged sword. On one hand, hearing players shout battle cries or roleplay officers adds to the atmosphere. On the other hand, public servers are often filled with mic spam, people blasting music, yelling nonsense, or turning the match into a meme fest. It's funny the first time, but it can wear thin quickly. World War I mode, while a fresh change, just doesn't have the same player base as the Napoleonic content. Matches in that era can feel empty or unbalanced, and it's clear the majority of the community sticks to the classic line battles. So if you're buying into the World War I side, expect a smaller experience. There's also a bit of a wall for new players. If you're not part of a regiment, or if you don't enjoy following orders in structured battles, the experience can feel directionless. Lone wolfing in public matches doesn't offer much satisfaction, and the game doesn't do a great job of guiding new players into the action. Another downside is the repetitive nature of gameplay. Since there's no real progression system or deep customization, it all depends on how much you enjoy the core mechanics. After a few dozen matches, if you're not part of an organized group, it can start feeling like you've seen everything the game has to offer. Lastly, while the community can be welcoming, there's sometimes a strong elitist vibe. If you're not great at melee or if you don't follow protocol, expect to get called out, sometimes harshly. This isn't a deal breaker, but it can be frustrating if you're just looking to casually enjoy the game. So, is it worth playing in 2025? If you want a modern FPS with polished mechanics and constant action, Holdfast might not deliver. But if you're into historical warfare, enjoy large-scale battles, and are willing to learn the ropes and maybe join a regiment, then there's still a lot of fun to be had. The experience lives or dies based on player cooperation. With a good group, it's immersive, chaotic in the best way, and memorable. Without it, it can feel like a noisy, clunky mess. As of 2025, the game is still being supported and updated with a console version and crossplay features, which could breathe new life into the community. But for now, the PC experience is still the main way to enjoy it. Holdfast Nations at War isn't for everyone. It's not a fast-paced shooter with flashy graphics or deep RPG systems. It's a niche multiplayer sandbox where the best moments come from group coordination, historical roleplay, and massive player-driven battles. If that sounds like your thing, you'll probably have a blast. If not, you might bounce off it quickly. So, is it worth playing in 2025? Yes, if you know what you're getting into. Just be ready for some chaos, a few bugs, and a community that expects you to either get in line or get out of the way.